You know, for decades, our gut feelings and hard science have been in a total war over one simple question. Is the hot hand real, or is that amazing feeling of being on a winning streak just a powerful illusion? Well, we're about to find out.
Just think about it for a second. A time you were just completely on a roll. Maybe you were hitting every single green light on your way to work. Or maybe you were playing a game and you just could not miss. You know that feeling, right? Where you're just totally locked in and it feels like failure is impossible? Well, that is what we call the hot hand. It's this deep, intuitive belief that success actually breeds more success, that making one shot makes the next one more likely to go in. And look, for anyone who's ever felt it, it feels about as real as it gets.
I mean, this belief is pretty much universal, especially in sports. Athletes feel it. Coaches will literally design entire plays around a player who's got it. And fans, watching from home, we can just sense when a player is on fire. It's treated like this fundamental truth of performance. But what happens when you actually put that feeling under a scientific microscope?
And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. For more than 30 years, the official scientific consensus was that this feeling we all have was a total illusion, just a cognitive error, a trick our brains play on us when we're trying to make sense of the world.
So, how in the world did such a deeply held belief get branded a fallacy? I mean, how did science decide we were all wrong? To understand that, we have to go all the way back to a single landmark study that pretty much defined this whole debate for an entire generation.
The year is 1985. A team of researchers, Gilovich, Tversky, and Vallone, decide they're going to rigorously test this hot hand idea once and for all. So, they analyzed mountains of shot-by-shot data from the Philadelphia 76ers. They even ran their own controlled shooting experiments. And no matter which way they crunched the numbers, they found nothing. Zilch. A player's chance of making a shot had absolutely nothing to do with whether they'd made the last one.
Their conclusion was just stark. And it sent these huge ripples through psychology and economics. The belief in the hot hand, they said, was a cognitive illusion. This wasn't just some academic paper. This was the birth of the hot hand fallacy, an idea that became straight-up textbook knowledge.
But, okay, if it's not real, why does literally everyone believe in it? Well, the researchers had a pretty elegant answer for that, too. Our brains are basically pattern detection machines. We're so good at finding patterns that we see them even when they're not there, like in random noise. If you flip a coin 100 times, you're going to get clumps of heads and clumps of tails just by chance, and our brain immediately goes, aha, a streak.
You know, it's funny, this fundamental misunderstanding of what random actually looks like leads us to two opposite but totally related mistakes. There's the hot hand fallacy, where we think a basketball player on a streak is just going to keep hitting shots. But then there's the flip side, the gambler's fallacy. That's when you're at the roulette wheel, you see a bunch of reds in a row, and you think, well, black is definitely due. Both of these come from our brain's struggle to just accept randomness for what it is.
And honestly, for decades, that was the story. Case closed. The hot hand was just a myth our brains made up. But here's the thing about science. It's never really settled. And it turned out there was a major plot twist hiding in plain sight, right inside the math of that original study.
This one question changed everything. What if the very methods used to debunk the hot hand were themselves flawed? What if the math was actually hiding the very effect it was looking for?
So fast forward to 2018. Two researchers, Joshua Miller and Adam Sanjurjo, decide to go back and revisit that classic 1985 paper. And what they found was incredible. There was a subtle but really powerful statistical bias in the original analysis. The way the first team measured shooting percentages after a made shot, well, it accidentally made streaks look smaller than they really were. So, once Miller and Sanjurjo corrected for this bias, poof, evidence for the hot hand appeared right there in the very same data that was once used to kill.
I mean, what an incredible finding. This reopened the entire case. With this new insight, researchers all over started looking for the hot hand again, but this time, they were armed with much better, more sophisticated statistical tools to actually find it.
And this time? Oh yeah, they found it. A huge wave of new evidence started pouring in. They found statistically significant hot hand effects all over the place. In hundreds of thousands of NBA free throws, in the batting performance of Major League Baseball players, and even in that super high-pressure environment of the NBA's three-point contest. Suddenly, the evidence was everywhere.
So where does all of this leave us? Well, the current scientific consensus has basically flipped. The hot hand does seem to exist. That gut feeling you have, it was right, mostly. The really critical thing to understand, though, is that the effect is often pretty small and subtle. It's not some raging can't-miss inferno like we imagine. It's more like a real, measurable, but slight uptick in performance.
Okay, so it's a small statistical thing in sports. Why should we care about this academic back and forth? Well, because our powerful belief in streaks, whether they're real or not, has massive, tangible consequences out here in the real world.
And yeah, this goes way beyond sports. In the world of finance, this exact same psychology drives investors to chase hot stocks, which can lead to market bubbles. And gambling? It's what keeps people betting on numbers they think are on some kind of lucky streak. This instinct to ride the streak is so deep in us, it even shows up in how people control drones, where operators tend to repeat a successful action even when the outcome is basically random.
And that really brings us right to the heart of it all. The story of the hot hand is just this fantastic reminder that the line between our intuition and a complete illusion can be incredibly blurry. In this case, our gut feeling was eventually proven right by better data. But it also shows just how easily our brains can fool us. And it leaves us with this huge, critical question to carry forward. In any high-stakes decision, how do we know when to trust our gut and when to trust the data?